everybody. Welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. Today we have KamalaDevi here McClure, who is talking about her book, Sex Shamans, True Stories of Sacred Sexuality and Awakening. So, welcome back.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about some of the experiences and exercises that we can do on our own or with our partners, and the work that you do as a sex coach and what that involves. Um, First, let's start off with you. Like, how did you get involved with being a sex coach? How do you work with people?
Sure. It's almost full circle and ironic because when I was a yoga teacher, which I was for 15 years, and I found my private yoga classes often people when they had, the doors were closed and we got on the mat, they'd bring up questions about, that losing their erections or not being
Oh,
orgasmic,
wow.
like these things would come up privately because we were working on the body. And I thought to myself, you know, is it is everybody having these conversations or is it because I create a safe space or I have a gift? But that actually was such a wake up for me that was an ongoing theme that I sought resources. And one of the books that I found was called Women of the Light, and it was by Kenneth Stubs, who created an anthology. This is over 10 years ago and maybe 20 years ago now, but the anthology of books had one character in it that was a sex shaman.
Hmm.
So that was the first time I heard the term, was through Kenneth Stubbs' book. And here we are, like I said, almost 20 years later, and I decided to create another anthology, knowing that that book set me on the path beyond being a yoga teacher into being a coach, where I worked on not just sex, but relationship, love, spirituality. And in the last 2 decades, I've worked with thousands of couples on how to come from a more authentic
Hmm.
experience of self into the inseparable experience of relationship, not just with one other, but with all of reality.
Hmm. Okay, so tell me about what that means. Like, so you had these people during a yoga class ask you questions, and I'm assuming that you've come up, people throughout now your whole coaching experience have asked you a series of questions. And I know it's hard, but do they usually aggregate around a certain kind of theme?
So sexuality is so varied. And the problems, the questions, the concerns. I mean, I'd love to say, oh yeah, I've got an answer for this or that, but the truth is, we are extremely unique beings, and the area that is the most unique is our life force energy and how it expresses. So people will be like, I'm only having sex 3 times a week. Is that normal? And I have to let go of all concepts of normal and say to people, what is the shape of your heart? What is the
Mm.
truth of the life force energy when you're resourced? When you're in balance with your diet and your exercise and your sleep, and you're like actually at your optimal. And a lot of times, when people are having problems in bed or in sex, it's not problems in bed or sex, it's problems in either health or communication or some other area of their life that's blocking, the natural flow of their desire and their play and pleasure.
All right, so it's kind of a
Not
you're
pleasure.
looking at it as soul or heart.
Sex can actually take us into, yes,
Sorry, we lost.
yeah,
Can you repeat what you just said because it clipped out?
sure. So sex happens at different uh, frequencies, and one frequency might be pleasure and play, another frequency might be enlightenment, and another level might be relational and intimate, another level might be just purely, like physical and procreative and biological. And so it's a matter of like, where is somebody's center of gravity.
Right. So when you're actually looking at working with someone, it's actually looking at where is it in these three or four areas, and if so, how can you work it from that angle? Necessarily just like, I can't get an erection. Should I take, whatever Viagra? It's more like, okay, what is happening on the relationship front from your center, pleasure and play, those kinds of things.
Yeah, we are multidimensional beings and we want to address people holistically.
Right. Okay, got it. And then how, um, when you work with, you talk in your book about unethical sex shamans and a big ego or shadow, and so I'm wondering what that means and its implications for finding the right sex shaman for you.
Our intuition is so important, and the right sex shaman or relationship is so unique to, different people, their path, their background. And so I'm, less looking at ethics or, right or wrong. Ethics are, are they ethical or are they not ethical? It's more of a question of resonance.
Hmm.
And everybody's on, we're souls on various journeys, different places on the path, and finding a guide whom you can trust that has walked uh, a path similar to your own, that you say, oh, wow, this is somebody I want to be like. And the work is to actually look at that person, not just in their, their writings and their words, but to say, like, how are their relationships? What is their shadow? What are they stalking? Because, as I mentioned, like every healer is still human and has their own wounding.
Right.
And so when you're looking at having a relationship with a guide, it's a deep, intimate, vulnerable relationship. And it should be the kind of relationship where you can talk about that person's mistakes and blind spots and challenges, as well as your own, to see if there's parallels and that they
Right.
could support you through that.
Yeah, so it's more of an intuitive field than it is like a little checklist that you have, like must do this, that. These are the ethical things that you should look at. Okay, so I wanted to just so people have a sense. Can you give us a sense of either an experience that we could step through with you on YouTube, or something that we can try later on with our partner?
Sure. And so, um, it's powerful for me because when I'm with somebody, usually I can read that person and uniquely say, here's something to try. And so I'm going to actually just use you
Okay, good, perfect.
for me, and I'm looking at my embodiment exercises
Okay.
as, the appendix in the book. And one of the things that I would, yeah, this is because you are so already far on the path. I would invite you into sexual divination.
Okay,
so,
perfect.
so I could probably just go, and
Okay.
that's the one that I'll mention.
Okay.
Um, but what I imagine that you have a self pleasuring practice already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know the details of what
Right.
that is, but you're a woman of the world enough to know that you can't expect anyone else to please you and be desired unless you desire yourself and please yourself. So you've got a self-pleasuring practice. Now, to take that to the next level, I would invite you to create a container or a space for a special self-pleasuring practice, whether that means candles, music, bath, incense, whatever will make kind of heighten it. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is a special ritual just for me, but not just to get off or to experience pleasure. I actually am going to use my body as an oracle. And
Oh.
I ask a question. I'm going to pray, maybe pull some tarot cards, or just take a moment to really say, what is it that I'm yearning to know, and set an intention before the lovemaking. And the style of lovemaking, like, is less important. It's not about the crystal wands or the tools or the positions. All of that's intuition.
Right.
It's following the life force energy, listening, opening a portal, and letting yourself in the orgasmic state to actually open to, like, the one that has the answers, to access
Ah.
the greater part of you, the soul, and say, like, I surrender. I don't know, but there's a power greater in me that does. And to let that come through, so that by the time that you kind of float back down into the afterglow, you have a sense of new insight, new direction, ideas, and you might even journal about those.
So is this during your pleasuring period? You walk in with an intention before you self pleasure, and then you self pleasure with and allow yourself to just go with wherever the energy is taking you with the intention of knowing that, or the belief or faith that you will have an answer to the question at the very end.
Yeah, and if an answer doesn't come, maybe more important questions, maybe a vision, maybe it's about being in the mystery, because
Mm.
divination is often the mystery, and so less about I want the answer and knowing, but more about I want to be able to access the state of consciousness in which solutions can be accessed, which is different than the ordinary state of consciousness in which I walk around.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. I guess I'll
Great.
have to try it. Okay, good, excellent. And I got a personal tip. I love that. We've been talking to KamalaDevi McClure about her book, Sex Shamans, True Stories of Sacred Sexuality and Awakening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That will be fun to try. Well, of course it will be fun to try.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.